Hello everyone and welcome to our video today. My name is Martin Muchuki from Amli. I am a data engineer specializing in Snowflake implementation. I want to share something interesting that changed how I think and how I view real-time data in Snowflake. And it all stemmed from a need that Riverton City had, where they have traffic sensors that then send that data to an API, which then in schedule, actually initially it was nightly, they had a nightly process that used to drop a Parquet file in their Azure Blob, but later they changed that to 15 minutes. However, 15 minutes is okay, but we realized that we can even do better and have near real-time stream coming in, and it would even save some costs since we would do away with the blob piece. So what prompted this was one specific scenario where picture this. It's Tuesday 5 p.m. and then there's a truck that has mechanical issues and has caused traffic on one of the streets. In the traffic operations room, our operations officer, and let's call her Maria, pulls up her dashboard, and to her, traffic is flowing fine. But there's a problem because her screen is 15 minutes behind the street. So by the time the next batch of data comes in after the 15 minutes stream that normally the current process where data comes in after every 15 minutes, by the time new data comes in, there has already been a delay of let's say 15 minutes in resolving that traffic issue. So that's a huge gap. 15 minutes is such a long time when such an issue is happening. So let's review that and see how to make that process efficient for them and to have near real-time issues resolved where they can send rescue team and basically based off the need at that particular time. So I'm going to share my screen here. Yeah, this is the before architecture where the traffic API we had an Azure function with a 15-minute timer that would drop a JSON file or a Parquet file to the Azure blob. And then now from the blob, we had an event grid sending the notifications, and then the Snowpipe now doing the file load. So we used to have up to 15 minutes before a reading is queryable. However, the back half remained unchanged, where once the Snowpipe does its role, we have the row table, the stream and the task, and then the staging piece now with the clean rows. So we didn't interfere with the pieces on Snowflake side. We just enhanced this process here so that we can remove the 15 minutes lag before a reading is queryable. And let's go to so this is our after architecture, where now directly from the traffic API from Riverton sensors through our streaming client, and we're going to have a look at this, which in our case is it's a Python program, sends this directly to Snowflake to our row table, and now that's queryable in seconds. So it's seconds, not minutes. So there's no wait. And then, like we said, we are not changing the backup where we have the row table to receive the raw data, and then you have the stream and task to modify our data, and then we have all that in our staging table, which we call staging traffic, which has the clean rows. So we've we've uh, we've eliminated all these steps here, and we now have just one where it's from the API to our streaming client all the way to a row table. So yeah, we've done away with those multiple steps that were even slowing us and costing more, since the blob has some storage costs associated with them. So with that, we're going to dive into our demo and see that in action. So yeah, when you have a look here, this is our Python program where we have from the traffic feed all the way to Snowflake, but skipping the blob and having the near real time. So if we go to our stream traffic Python file, you can see it's a Python file where we're doing the usual, where we import the libraries, we do the setup piece, where we have the database, the schema, the table, the pipe, the channel, the profile. We have all this, and then so this is a simulation of the API where our sensors are sending us this data from riverside, northbound, southbound, eastbound, westbound. All of that information is coming, and then we have our. So we have all this data, sensor ID, the location, timestamp, direction, all this coming in. And then here we are passing the intervals. So we're going to do two tests here. One, we're going to stream scans of 20 readings each. That is scans. And then we're also going to do a real-time test where after every 5 seconds, we have data coming in. So we're going to have a look at both of them. So all that we've defined that in our Python code here. And then, yeah, and then that's it. And then after there, we have now the setup file, which we run on Snowflake side. So if I switch to my Snowflake here, you can see on Snowflake side, I come in and as well, I create all the needed equipment. So I create the database, the schema, the warehouse, and then I create the row landing for the stream. Since remember, it's no blob, so there's no Snowpipe file copy. So we create that table, and then we proceed to create the staging target, and then we do the stream and task. So the stream and task are doing the same role. If we're using the blob, they would be listening to the blob when a new file is dropped there, and then they pick that for Snowpipe to move that data. But in this case now, we don't have that. So the stream and task are listening on the row table, where if a new row is added, then that's the point where the task is activated, does the cleaning, and we have this data moved to the staging data. So yeah, and here's the task where it's flattening the stream and all of that. And then the service identity, we have the account, the role of service account ingestion role, and all of this Snowflake stuff. And then eventually we have the checkpoint where we'll confirm how our process has worked from our Python file. So with that, we're going now to see it in action. So let me come back here to our terminal, and then I activate, I do the first test. So okay, awesome. So let me do the first. If we said we're going to do two, one is the initial that is scans with 20 records each, which gives us 600, and two, we can quickly confirm what you have on this side so that we can cross-check the differences. So my table at this point has 1240 rows. So we're going now to run the program and see that streaming in. So let me do that. So when I run my Python program, you can see what it's doing. It's connecting to my row table, and then you can see the different scans. The first scan of 20 readings, all the way to 30, and you see it took 8.2 seconds, and it can even show us that it was waiting for Snowflake to commit, and we can see row is live now, and the staging will take less than 1 minute based on how we've scheduled that. So if we come back to Snowflake on this side, and then we run the row count once again. Yeah, there we go. We now have 1840 rows, which means we've added in the 600 runs that we've done. And then if we go to the staging, we're going to see it's still 1240 since this one just ran, so it's taking a few seconds to move that from row to staging. And then once that's done, we can even view a sample of the data we have. So let's see if we now have it in staging. Yeah, there we go. So the row count in the staging table is 1840 as well. So in less than 1 minute, we're able to bring in the traffic data, clean it up from our row table, move it to the staging table, and we can even visualize that in our dashboard here. So now Maria will be able to have a more accurate view of what's happening on the street and can advise better. So with that, let's now run the live. So if I run that program there, we can see the very first step is connecting to our source via pipe, our row table. You can see the channel is now open. It can even tell us that the last committed reading was 1839. So it's starting at 1840. So we have this in place, this piece here, so that it can check the very last record, so that when new data comes in, they are an addition to what's existing. So yeah, so you can see we've streamed around 100 readings. So it's sending a stream after every 5 seconds. So this is to simulate what Maria would be experiencing when she would be receiving this real-time data. So if we go back to Snowflake here, and then we see the count from the row table. We have 2100, and then if we go to the staging table, it should have less than that. It has 2040. So that's the amount of time it's taking to clean up from row to staging. And again, if we have a look at the sample data, we can see all of that. So On this end, the streaming is still continuing, so we can pause this for now. So let me, yeah, so I've paused that up to 2260. So if we go back here in Snowflake, and then we select the count, we see we are at 2260, and then the staging table has 2260. Awesome, it has already synced, and then we can also view the sample data. So with this, we're sure that Maria has real-time view of what's happening on the street, and in case of a delay or something happens, she can be able to send a dispatch team or the help needed as quickly as possible. Now, the other interesting piece to this is that when we come here and we want to look at the cost management, so yeah, let's see how much this is costing to have the stream going directly. So let's give it a second to open. Yeah, there we go. So cost management, and then we go to consumption. Yeah, there we go. We can see that the total spend today is $0.9. So all this streaming we're doing, we haven't even spent $1. It's that cheap. And remember, we bypassed the cost of having the Azure Blob, and we even bypassed what's most expensive, the time taken to resolve any issue that happens in the traffic. So yeah, that's it about our demo today, Snowflake streaming. We are glad that we've enabled Maria to view the traffic data in a real-time way, send dispatch team, and do everything that's needed in time, and thus reducing all these delays. So yeah, that's Snowflake streaming for you, and all the code used, all this information will be on the video description. So try it out and let Snowflake take care of the streaming for you at a very, very cheap price. Thank you.